All right, guys, change of plans. Surprise. I just saw this while I was scrolling, and I said, that's it. Like, we're talking about this movie. Quentin Tarantino's 1997 exploitation film homage to black exploitation films in the 70s, Jackie Brown. This movie is so phenomenal. It's so hard for me to say my favorite Tarantino film. I've went on record in my Inglorious Bastards video that I think that's his masterpiece, and I do. But man, there's always been something about this movie, about Jackie Brown, that it might just be my favorite Tarantino. The score in this movie is so phenomenal. All the Motown and like 70s disco and funk tracks, excellent. Like, probably the best soundtrack in not just a Tarantino film. This is definitely his best soundtrack, like by far for me. Probably one of the best soundtracks in the 90s. And it's ironic with all the 70s music in here that we have. But I just want to read off the cast real quick, because this is also just has to be one of the most amazing casts in the 90s movie. Like, it's absolutely unreal. Pam Grier, now, I should say up front, I never got really into the whole black exploitation films of the 70s. I've seen Coffee, and what's the other one with Pam Grier? Foxy Brown, right? Jackie Brown, yeah. I haven't seen them forever, but she was huge in that whole, scene, that whole film movement, that genre of film. So this rejuvenated her career again, which Tarantino has done for so many people. Did the same thing with just the movie prior to this, Pulp Fiction. He did the same with John Travolta. His career was down in the dumps, and I thought it was hysterical. I was reading some of the trivia on IMDb, and Quentin Tarantino met Robert Forster, the amazing Robert Forster, in a restaurant and just handed him the script and just said, here's the script, you're doing this, and that's all there is to it. And that was it. And he was thrilled, Forster, and he accepted the role, and that was it. And that's how he was involved with this movie. Tarantino just went up to him and said, you're doing this, end of story. And he said, okay, that's so funny. But look at the cast here. Pam Grier, Samuel L. Jackson, Robert Forster, Bridget Fonda, Michael Keaton, Robert De Niro, Michael Bowen, Chris Tucker, Lindsay Hamilton, Tom Lister Jr., like Sid Haig is in this as the judge, right? Amy Graham, like it just goes on and on and on. What an unbelievable cast here. Let's watch and talk Jackie Brown. I'm in such a mood for this right now. Just from the beginning here, with Across 110th Street with Bobby Womack singing. What a great opening song, man. Now, Tarantino films are pretty much like guess the homage for me whenever I watch them. But since, like I said, I've not been big into like the black exploitation movies from the 70s, I'm sure there's a lot that always go over my head, and still to this day. But the opening shot with Pam Grier in the airport when she's on the hell you call it, the moving thing that she's moving across and the background's going behind her, that looks like it's from something. Someone let me know what that's an homage to, because that's definitely in an older film. And this is Tarantino doing an homage to it. Across 110th Street. Oh, so good, man. How do you not love it? Speaking of rejuvenating careers, like with Pam Grier, same thing with Robert Forster. Like, his career was in the dumps when he got approached for this also. Then he went on to do some great things afterwards, which I've always loved Robert Forster. He is so good. Like Alligator, through Breaking Bad, and Twin Peaks: The Return before he passed away a few years ago, so sadly. He's amazing in this movie and in everything I've ever seen Forster in. Let me tell you something too. Pam Grier, I forget how old she was. I'm sure someone will know when she did this. But she was looking fine in this movie, man. Like, she was sexy in the 70s movies, but she looks great here. Like 20 something years later, like she's so great in this. Just her performance overall as Jackie Brown in this, the character and her portrayal of it is just excellent. She doesn't have a bad line delivery, like nothing. I love everything about Pam Grier here. Same with Robert Forster. Um, Robbie or Ordell is his first name, right? It's Ordell. Yeah, probably my favorite performance from Samuel L. Jackson. Like right here in this movie, I can't really think of another movie and another role or portrayal that Jackson has done that beats this for me. Always loved his performance in this. Robert De Niro, I mean, I feel like he's a little underutilized here. It's Robert De Niro, and he's just playing some, like, drugged out bum friend of his on the couch most of the time. It doesn't work for me 100%. That's probably one of the biggest negatives I have for this, actually, is that Robert De Niro's character just doesn't work for me, really. And I feel like if you have De Niro in a film, like, especially back even in the 90s here, use him. Like, I feel he's very, very underutilized, and that's a problem for me. Everybody else, though, kills it. Bridget Fonda is so great in this. Like, no one gives a bad line, performance, emotional expression on their face. Like, everything acting-wise is just amazing in this film. Now, like usual with Tarantino and all of his films, the banter and the dialogue's fantastic here. I mean, just the opening with Ordell talking to De Niro. I don't remember his character's name. Lewis, right? Pretty sure it's Lewis. They're sitting there and they're watching the girl with the red, white, and blue bathing suit and stuff, and she's firing off her Tech 9, and he's talking to him about the Tech 9, it's the most popular, like, gun in crime. All of that, like, is just so good. Like, it's so Tarantino. Like I've said in, I think it was Pulp Fiction video, probably in both. It all sounds like Tarantino. And for some, that's an issue. I notice it. I'm aware of it, but I don't care. Like, it's such great dialogue all the time. Ordell's line, the way that Jackson delivers it, when he says about the AK-47, he's like, when you absolutely positively have to kill every last motherfucker in the room except no substitutes. Great line. Like, there's so many great lines from him in this movie. I adore Bridget Fonda in this movie. Her whole character, the whole way that she loves Ordell in a way, but like she knows she has to listen and do what he says, but she does it so sarcastically and in a fuck you way. Like when the phone rings, she says, like, girl, pick it up. She's like, you know it's for you. And he just death stares her. And she gets up, walks over, picks it up real quick, doesn't even listen to who it is, and says, it's for you, and like puts it down, walks back, sits down in her chair. All of that from her is brilliant in this movie. She just has great like comedic timing in this. It's really, really well done. And the phone just rings, and he stares at her again. Great stuff. Before we dive too deep into this, if anyone hasn't seen Jackie Brown for some reason, one, go see it. Like now, come back later. If not, brief little synopsis. Pam Grier plays Jackie Brown, the titular character, who's a stewardess on an airline. And she works for Ordell, played by Jackson, who is like a gun runner and sells guns and drugs and a whole bunch of shit. He's a criminal. So she ends up picking up cocaine on the way back, or it's in her bag, and she gets busted with it. And then the two agents who bust her with it try to use her against Ordell to try to bring him down. Excellent crime story. Like, if you haven't seen it for some reason, please go check it out. Like, don't listen to the rest of this, but if not, here's your chance. So, whatever. Just the name Max Cherry for a bail bondsman is excellent. Like, great. Like, I know this story was based off a novel, and Tarantino changed, I think, a decent amount of the story. But the author, I can't remember who the author was. He actually said it was like one of the best screenplays he's ever read. So, like, Tarantino was kind of like worried that the author wouldn't like the film, kind of like a whole Stephen King, Stanley Kubrick movie adaptation, how he hates that film. Kind of the same here. And it turned out that he just loved the screenplay, which is great. But I do not remember the book. If somebody does, throw it down there in the comments. For people that are sensitive, fuck off, like I always say. But I mean, I'm quoting the movie here. His line, Ordell, to Max Cherry, when he sees Winston with him up on the picture of them on the ceiling, he goes, "Who is that mandingo-sized nigga you got up there?" That is such a fucking hysterical line, man. Just who thinks to use the word mandingo? Great stuff. Smart move by Ordell, too. By him saying, like, I got $10,000 in cash right here. And him saying, you got cash, what do you need me for? And he's like, some black guy goes up and pays for $10,000 in cash. They're going to wonder first thing, where did he get it? And then they're going to start wanting, costs and for court fees and shit like that. He's like, screw that, I go through you. I has to pay him $1,000 for the bond. Smart move. Like, very smart move. That's because, like Ordell says, he's straight out of Compton. Now, Chris Tucker has Beaumont here. He gets him bailed out, and then he kills him, of course, because he ain't doing 10 years or whatever he's got to do. The 10 years plus the concealed weapon charge. So whatever that is on top of that, just call it 10 years. He ain't doing any time. So he wipes him out. But just the whole... We know Chris Tucker. And I know how some of you feel about Chris Tucker when I talked about the Fifth Element with him in that. I absolutely love the guy. This is very tame Chris Tucker. Like, it almost feels like Tarantino probably came up to him numerous times and said, let's Chris, like, tone it the fuck down, please. Like, stop being so Chris Tucker. Because it's very, very restrained, his performance here. But still great banter between him and Beaumont. I mean, no, he's Beaumont. Him and Ordell. Great stuff. Now, speaking of how great Ordell's criminal mind is, cannot say the same for Beaumont here. This guy, first of all, the fact that he got bailed out by Ordell, and he didn't run immediately and get as far out of town as possible. Mistake number one. He should know that even if he could handle 10 years in prison and stuff, this criminal guy is not going to take that chance. He's going to kill him. He should have been so gone. But getting into the trunk, he does fight it a whole bunch, saying, I'm not getting in that trunk, you serious? To pop out of these fake Koreans that he made up, just so he can get him in this trunk and shoot him and kill him. He fights it a lot, but he still ends up in there, in that trunk. This guy doesn't know from minute one that this guy knocked on his door, that he's here to kill him. I don't know. Strawberry Letter 23 right here. One of my 50 greatest songs of all time because of this film. Just a masterpiece of a song. And it's utilized excellently here. Him putting the gloves on and then driving with Beaumont in the trunk and stuff before he kills him. Excellent. Like I said, the soundtrack to this movie is Tarantino's best. 100%. So I was just checking IMDb again. The usage of the word motherfucker from Samuel L. Jackson here. 37 times in this movie. And as of 2018, it's the most times that he utters the word motherfucker in any of his films. Just thought that was very interesting and funny. So what an excellent scene this is. I mean, all the dialogue, the way it's directed, the camera angles, the line delivery, when she gets picked up by the two people, by Bowden and Keaton. Forget their names. And they look through a bag real quick and they find what they think is like $50,000. They approximate. And then they end up playing good cop, bad cop against her, and then saying you'd rather go to customs, and deal with them, and they'll take you in and they'll process you and everything, or come just talk to us. And then I'm guessing, it's pretty heavily implied that Beaumont told them about her coming back with money, right? That's the only way they could have known. Because the cocaine, she had no idea about. That was Melanie, Bridget Fonda, that we find out later that was her who put it in there. So she had no idea she had cocaine in her bag. She knew that she had the money. Then they questioned her a little bit more. Just all the questioning, it feels authentic, man. Like, this is such a great movie. Like, it really is. Like, every scene is just played perfectly. Then I love how the cut, like, after they pull the cocaine out, it's like, what's this? And she's like, what's that shit? And then it just cuts and she's in jail. Then she's in front of Sid Haig, the judge, which, great seeing him in anything. I just can't and won't say enough about Forster in this movie. I mean, it's amazing that he got the Oscar nomination. It's a crime he didn't get the win, but just getting an Oscar nomination, like after having a real like low point in his career, he deserved it in every single way. He deserved the win. Like I said, his whole the whole scene here when Ordell comes back to him and says, "All right, I want to move the 10,000 from Beaumont." You didn't hear? And then he says it rhymes. He's like, someone blew Beaumont's brains out. He starts laughing like a maniac. And then he starts like throwing him breadcrumbs a little bit and baiting him to ask him like what he does. And I think I don't know, it's interesting on his part for sure that he's taking this chance. I don't know, in confiding in this guy when there is no, what he's trying to find the words for, like client, like confidentiality or anything like between him and this guy. He's just a bail bondsman. So like anything he's telling him just because he wants him to know. And a lot of that has to do with Ordell's ego, which we see a few times in this movie. But the whole second scene with them meeting up again is fantastic. And just every line from Forster is great. And when he starts saying, like, I would assume maybe you're in the drug business, but the money's moving in the opposite direction. So whatever you're doing, I'm sure you're good at it. You're getting away with it, so more power to you. Now, you want to talk about Beaumont? Like, he doesn't care at all what this guy does. Like, he deals with criminals all the time. So, like, none of this, like, rattles him in any way, and he plays it perfectly. Especially because, like, Tarantino wrote this role specifically for Forster. So, I mean, he absolutely should kill it, and he does. The song Natural High that's used here when Max Sherry's picking up Jackie Brown as he meets her for the first time. Excellent song. And then we got the Delphonics, Didn't I Blow Your Mind This Time, later on when she's playing in the apartment. And he asks who it is. And later on he buys a cassette tape of the Delphonics. Like, what a fantastic... That's another top 50 song for me. Didn't I Blow Your Mind by the Delphonics? Absolutely fantastic music. Like, I can't say enough about the music. Absolutely adore the red lighting in the bar when they stop for a drink on the way back to her apartment. Just great choice for this scene. Like, it's just, yeah, you could just say it's a bar. Like, that's how the bar looks. But, like, you didn't have to light it this way, and it looks fantastic. In fact, all the cinematography in this movie is excellent. Like, every single shot in this film is so well done. Like, this is such an underrated Tarantino movie. It really is. And you even see Ordell is tailing them and watching, him dealing with Jackie Brown just to see if there's any funny business on her part. Like, he's a brilliant criminal in this movie, Ordell. He really is. But yeah, this is such an underrated film from Tarantino, I feel. Like, it's got its fans, like, for sure. And I'm one of them. But you don't hear this one on people's, like, number one most of the time. Like, hardly ever. Like, you always hear Pulp Fiction or Inglourious Basterds or Kill Bill or Reservoir Dogs. Pretty much those, for the most part. You don't really hear Jackie Brown, and that's a fucking crime, man. It doesn't even make most people's top threes, and that's crazy. What great tension in the whole scene when Ordell comes to her place and starts grilling Jackie. Like, hard about everything, saying like, how'd you come across this information that they were waiting for you and everything? She said, Beaumont Livingston. He's like, I knew it. And he turns the lights back off. Lights are completely dark, and she knows that he's here to kill her. Like, possibly, if there's any hint that she said something wrong. And she's ready for this motherfucker. Like, absolutely ready. And that's just one of many reasons Pam Grier and Jackie Brown's character just kicks so much ass in this film. Just every line from Pam Grier. Like, when she says, "That's why you came over here to kill me," and he's like, "I didn't come over here to," he's like, "Oh, it's okay, I forgive you." Like, she's just a fucking treasure in this film. Small thing, but I love the usage of like fade to black shots or fade from black shots to start a scene. He uses it a decent amount in this movie, and it's used to great effect. Like, something about it's charming to me. Such a brilliant song, like I said, man. The Delphonics being a common thread through this movie is just fantastic. Like, such a brilliant song. So after all that bullshit from Jackie to Ordell, she's just immediately up for setting his ass up, working with the ATF, and getting Ordell arrested and caught. Because fuck him. And I think that's like another great thing about this movie, and exploitation films in general, because it's just usually how it is, especially like crime films. In the criminal world, man, no one gives a shit about anybody but themselves. Primarily. Beaumont cared about no one but Beaumont surviving and not going to jail. He's dead. Ordell cares just about Ordell. Melanie cares just about Melanie. Lewis about himself. The only one who cares about anybody here is Max. This is Max Cherry. He's just the most kind-hearted person. He's the only person. And of course, Jackie's feelings for him and stuff. Jackie too, though. She's like, Ordell, fuck him. I'm thinking, I'll do a setup. I'll get his ass arrested. I need immunity, and I need to keep my job. Instant survival for herself. Like, I love it. The wood-carved bong that Melanie and Lewis smoke out of, I think looks sick. Like, the hand-carved, like, it looks so nice. Like, what a, like, memorable bong. I think it looks like a dragon or some shit. And I love how Melanie's just like, "You want to fuck?" And he's like, and they just fuck, and then it's over, and they're done. Like, just so casual, like, so funny. She's so great in this, like I said. Again, sensitive. Oh, the words, the line, just for Tarantino to write this line, to come up with that, "You'll need nigger repellent to keep everybody away from you." Like, who thinks of this shit, man? Tarantino is the only one. Oh, such another just fantastic scene when they sit down at the bar and they're talking about the plan, or the plan that she's laying out to Ordell, and saying that they're going to do a dry run. She's going to bring in, under the nose of the cops, the ATF guys looking at them and stuff, she's going to bring in $10,000 of his money. Then he's going to do it a second time, and she's going to bring in the $500,000, give it off to somebody else first before she hands off another $10,000 to somebody else. It's a brilliant idea. It really is. And it's even more brilliant because it sounds great to Ordell, and all the parts she's omitting that are to her benefit are even more genius. Like, what a genius woman Jackie Brown is. Her saying, he's saying, "I don't need a partner. Like, this is my money. I see that you want a cut of this, but like, I don't want a partner." And she says, "I'm not a partner. I'm your manager. I'm managing to bring your money out of Mexico under the nose of the cops to you, deliver it to you. So I'm your manager, and the manager gets 15%. And he's like, "Manager don't get no 15. They get 10%. No, that's an agent. Manager get 15. Brilliant dialogue. Like, oh, it's so good. Now, at the mall, this is a cool little trivia that I didn't even have to read. I saw it, but I knew this. When Max Cherry walks out of the movie theater in the Del Amo Mall, which is the largest indoor the largest indoor mall in the country? I don't think it's the world. Whatever. In the mall, it's fucking huge, is the point I'm trying to make. And he's coming out of the movie theater. You hear the ending credits of a movie that he's leaving. It's the same music that plays at the end of the film here. Like, I think that's so cool. That's a clever little thing to throw in there. Love when she asks Max, because they run into each other in the food court, and she asks him point blank, like, would you if you had the opportunity with a bag full of money, and it's not someone's life savings, it's not drug money, but gun money and illegal money, wouldn't even be missed. Like, would you take it? And he says, sure, he'd be tempted and stuff, but he says, like, that type of money, $500,000, will always be missed by someone, and definitely will by Ordell. I'd take it in a heartbeat. Like, absolutely. Fuck Ordell. Are you serious? Like, I will miss his reaction of crying to not having $500,000 because I'll be long gone with that bag full of money. Like, you can guarantee that. Then we have the third layer to this whole plan, that she involves Max in it. And that he's going to help her steal all of Ordell's money. Take that whole $500,000, and just the fact that he helps her, and like, he's obviously smitten with her. They have some type of chemistry. It's not really romantic. Maybe it is a little more one-sided, but it's still more of just like I don't know. I think they see each other as just genuine people and beautiful people. And Max views Jackie as that she doesn't deserve to be living this type of life and going through all this. And that's why I think he sacrifices a lot of stuff for her. Because it makes sense. But the whole other layer here of involving him is great. And on Ordell's part, again, being him a criminal mastermind that he is, she meets up for the trial run with Sharonda, and the black woman, and they're sitting there and talking for a little bit. She gets up and leaves. Sharonda gets up and she doesn't pick the bag up. There's a woman at the table right next to it, and he ended up using a second girl to pick the money up because he didn't trust shit. So he didn't leave it to Sharonda that they could have jumped up on there. He let some other person take it out. Great choice by Ordell. I mean, I keep saying he's a brilliant criminal, but it kind of sucks that he gets screwed over here. But Jackie's just a lot better. And this is what I mean with De Niro being underutilized. Like, it's funny the first time you watch this and you see him so stoned, he doesn't know how to put a phone back on the... Like, it's funny the first time you watch this. After that, it's just like, why even have De Niro here? Like, it's fucking Robert De Niro. I don't know, man. The whole character of Lewis, like, I do know that I think De Niro wanted to play Max Cherry, but since Tarantino wrote it specifically for Forster, he ended up just saying take the role of Lewis because they wanted to work together. Still, though, it's like I wouldn't have taken it if I was De Niro. I'd be like, no, call me up for your next project or something. Like, who wants to just play like a bumbling high dude when you're De Niro? Like, I don't know. This whole character makes no sense to me. And like Cherry says to her here, like, she is taking a hell of a chance. Like, of course, she's not telling every detail to Cherry either. So, I mean, the way she all right, why can't I say this word? Compartmentalize. There was like a video a while back where I was trying to say it like 2-3 times. Could not say it. The way she all right, fuck you guys. The way she doesn't tell everybody every detail of her full plan is just another amazing decision by her. She just says that she's going to have the $50,000 in the bag. I still can't get over it. I can't say that word. Puts the $50,000 on top of the bag, and the full rest of his money is going to be underneath that. And she's telling, right, and I like how they intersplice like the scenes of her talking to Max with her at dinner with the ATF dude, and how the story is evolving, and the plan, you get to hear it being told to all the different people involved, and just the little differences that she leaves out. All of that's fantastic. Compartmentalize. Ha! Freaking love the title card when it says money exchange for real this time. Brilliant. And then her sorting the bag out and everything, putting the money in the bottom of her pocketbook, and then putting the envelope with the $50,000 on top. The song that's playing is fantastic. For some reason, the name is escaping me, but amazing song choice here too, like for that whole scene. Them all preparing for this whole thing to go down with Street Life playing. It's just, this movie's so great. All right. I take back half of what I said about Lewis's character with De Niro, because I always forget how hysterical it is at the end here. Like, we see already the plan go down. She gives the bag off to Melanie with the little cherry on top. And what did Ordell ever do for us? And then she moves the rest of the actual money into the bag for Max to take out. Says the beach towel somebody left in there, so that way he can come in later and say, my wife left beach towels in there. Brilliant idea. And then when they're like late and he's talking to Ordell on the phone, saying like she's getting ready, like just go bang that door down and like go grab that bitch and get in the car. Then like he's like dragging her through the parking lot, and she keeps like really like getting on his nerves, like bad. And he's like, she's saying like Lewis, and he ends up just shooting her. That is hysterical. I laugh hysterically every time. What a great scene. He just pulls out a gun and shoots this bitch in the middle of the broad daylight, in the middle of a mall parking lot. Hysterical. And that's funny as hell. More so coming from De Niro. So, half bad character, half good. And just what a great decision to show us how this all goes down from the perspective of Jackie Brown, then from Lewis and Melanie's perspective, and then finally from Max Cherry's perspective, and showing it 3 times. Great decision, like really creative. All of this dialogue with him explaining how he shot Melanie. You shot her twice? He asked if she dead. He says, pretty much. He kills it. Just like I said, best performance by Jackson for me in a movie. He kills it in this. And then they pull over, and he realizes some money ain't in the bag, and he questions Lewis, and Lewis is saying, like, fuck you, how can you ask me that, when, like, they're supposed to be brothers and shit. Like I said, only looking out for yourself in the crime world, guys. Don't go join gangs and crime activities. But all of that's great, and I love how the camera's from behind in the back seat, and we just see the backs of them, and them turning their heads, talking to each other and everything, and then he finally thinks, and he realizes it's Jackie. And then the response he gives when Lewis says, like, if that's the case and she has it, like, why didn't she take all of it? Ordell says, well, I'll be sure to ask that bitch before I blow her brains out. I'm starting to think a lot of the way I talk comes from Samuel L. Jackson, because it sounds like something I would say. And then he just lets it slip that he saw Max Cherry. Lewis saw him in the dress department, and he starts saying, like, how could you not mention that or think anything of it? I mean, and Lewis is, I mean, he's stoned as shit all the time. Like I said, he's a useless but funny character. So he didn't put 2 and 2 together that they knew each other, Jackie and Max, like he says. Well, he says that right to him. Says, like, I didn't know they knew each other. He's like, yeah, he bonded her out of county. And then the whole thing right before he shoots him, when he says, like, your ass ain't worth a damn no more, and then shoots him, says, like, what happened to you, man? We used to be beautiful. Like, all of that, just great dialogue, like, and a great send-off to a stupid character. The whole performance that she puts on to Ray, the ATF guy, when he's grilling her, just saying, you have no idea what happened to that $50,000. She's just sticking to the story that Melanie burst in and took the money. And she's saying, no, not even a tiny little motherfucking bit. Like, brilliant. Like, oh, I love Pam Grier so much in this movie. Like, she's so fantastic. Man, Max Cherry really takes a risk here. Like, going over to deliver him the $10,000 they stick to the story to for the bail bond for Beaumont that got switched to Jackie because she got off as of this morning, and he knows that this guy's involved, that Max Cherry helped her get the money out. So he goes over there, like, with the gun pointed in his face for Jackie, like, for this long scene. And it's really tense, and it's just great dialogue again from Jackson. When he says to Jackson, to Ordell, it says, like, and she wants to explain why she had to hang on to it. He's like, I would love to hear that. Like, oh man, I can't say enough about the acting by everybody in this film. Obviously, it's just, the cast is unreal, like in this movie. And just great thinking on Jackie's part too here. And I'm sure she talked to Max about it. I mean, they devised the plan together, but she hears from the ATF guy, who says, like, I got no evidence that you did anything, like, or took any money or anything. So you better hope that we find him, Ordell, before he finds you, finds Jackie. And so she thought of another brilliant thing. She said, all right, then let's just bring you guys and then have him come right to you guys and have you get him there. And they bring him, they go to Max Cherry's office, and Winston's there too, the Mindingo. That's such a funny line, man. And shoots Ordell there because he has a gun. I mean, you can't think of a better ending, man, for Jackie. Like, she made out better than anybody here. And Max assumably retires, and just, what a great movie, man. Like, this, like I said, every time I rewatch this, I'll definitely say it's my favorite Tarantino film. Like, for sure. Even though I do consider Inglourious Basterds and Pulp Fiction better films by him, this is just such a blast. Like, it really is, and it's been so much fun to talk about it. But, alright guys, hopefully I'll have something else out tomorrow. And I don't know, I'm in Tarantino mood again. Maybe a Kill Bill, 1 and 2, long discussion. That'll be fun. I haven't seen both Kill Bills back to back in a very long time. So, alright guys, wherever you're from, hope you're having a good morning, night, afternoon, whatever. Take care.